Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a lovely day today. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing my second to last update for this year for my pan palette project. I was going to say challenge. But yeah, this is going to be the second to last update. So we're very nearly at the end now. And this update is definitely like the longest one I'm probably going to film. Also, it's like probably the best I've ever done in 1 month with this palette, which is great. Also, I just want to quickly say, if my makeup looks like hot garbage, it's because my eyes keep on watering and I cannot get them to stop. So like all of the like concealer and powder has gone from under my eyes and also like in the corners of my eyes. It's not a vibe, but yeah, if it looks like hot garbage, just let me be, okay? I really need to film this video. Anyway, let's just get straight on into it. Okay, so I've written down all of my stuff here with all of my numbers and stuff, but I have been using this palette pretty much every single time I've done my eyeshadow now, all year long. So it's the only palette I've used all year. Obviously, I did have a baby this year too, so I haven't really been doing makeup a whole lot. Because obviously, especially for the first few months, I definitely was not touching makeup. But I've given this like my best shot and I think I've done quite well, to be honest. So let's just go ahead and show you what my palette is looking like this month. So as you can see, we have plenty of pans. We don't have any new pans as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure I didn't hit any new pans this month, I don't think. No, I definitely didn't, but I've definitely expanded a lot of the pans. So I'm just gonna straight away just go straight on into this because I feel like this is going to be quite a long update. So the first shade we have is the white shade, which is called Pumpkin, which already had pan on it. I have used this shade 12 times this month, and I've used it, not this month, this past 2 months, sorry, and I've used it 44 times since starting this project, and this is what Pumpkin looks like now. So I feel like that is like massive pan. It's definitely one of the shades that I'm hoping I can have empty before the end of the year. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that, but I'm gonna try my hardest. So then the next shade is Pancakes, which is basically just like a my skin tone kind of shade. And I've used it 11 times since the last update and 31 times altogether. So another shade that gets quite a lot of use. And this is what it looks like now. Again, that pan is just growing and growing every single update, and it's another shade that I'm really hoping I can have empty before the end of the year. So then I'm going to move on to the next shade, which is Fairy Lights, which I use as an inner corner and brow bone highlight. Now the pan on this isn't huge, but it is one that it is the shade that I have pretty much used every single time I've done my makeup. So I've used it 12 times since the last update and 51 times since the start of the project. And this is what it's looking like now. So again, the pan's not huge, but it's definitely getting there. Then we have the shade next to that, which is Pink Champagne, which I used 5 times since the last update and 11 times since starting the project, and no pan yet, but this shade definitely looks a lot more loved now. It looks a lot more used. So then we have the shade next to that, which I'm just gonna skip on over. It's called Cup of Tea, and no wait, it's not Cup of Tea at all. It's called Iced Coffee, and I didn't use it since the last update, and yeah, I've only used it 20 times. Yeah, I've used it 20 times since the start of the project. I don't know why, but I have a funny feeling I have used that shade and I just haven't written it down because I swear the pan wasn't that big. So I'm not too sure about that one. We'll see in the update photos if there's any change. So then we have the shade next to that, which is Cup of Tea, which I used 3 times since the last update, and I've now used it 25 times since the start of the project. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to empty this shade by any means, but I would just like to expand that pan as much as I can. So then I'm just going to gloss over the next shade. It is the shade Grow Old, and I didn't use it since the last update, but I have used it 8 times since the start of the project. So then next to that we have Sparks Fly, that I've used once since the last update, and I've used it 6 times since starting the project. Then next to that we have Smoky Bronze, which again I didn't use since the last update, and I've used it 9 times since the start of this project. So then we have Mixed Berries, which was a shade I really wanted to focus on, and judging from the uses, I don't think I truly did focus on it, but I at least used it. So before this month I hadn't used it at all. It had never been touched. Now I've used it 3 times and it definitely looks like more love, like you can tell that I've used it. I'm just definitely not like a big fan of the shimmers in this palette anymore. I just feel like a lot of them just don't perform very well, and a lot of them have a lot of hard pan that I have to work with every single time that I go in and use them. So I just kind of forget to use them, like yeah, that's what it is, but at least that has got some use to it now. Then I have the shade next to that, which is Tiramisu, which I've used 4 times since the last update and 11 times collectively. And this again is a shade that I really want to have empty before the end of the year, and I think this is a shade that I could have empty, to be honest, so I'm gonna try my hardest to finish that one. Then we have Peaches next to that, which I've used 5 times since the last update and 8 times collectively, so it should just look a little bit disturbed, but no noticeable pan, not even a noticeable dip, to be honest with you, but yeah, it's been used. So then we have Cloudberry, which again was a focus shade, and again I'm really not too sure that I focused on this shade, but I used it 3 times since the last update and 7 times since the start of the project, and I'm starting to notice like a dip in this pan now, and yeah, you can definitely tell that it's been used, and I really do love this shade. I don't know why I don't use it more often. I think it's because it's like bright orange, it scares me, but honestly if you mix it in with another shade it's so easy to use. And yeah, I don't know why I don't use it more, to be honest with you. So then we have the shade next to that, which is Pumpkin, which I had not used in this project since starting it, but since the last update, I have used it twice, so yeah, you can see that it's been used a little bit. Then next to that we have Petrol, which again literally had never been used before the last update, and now I have used it once, so yeah, it's got a little bit of usage on it, and I actually really like the shade. I actually created one of my favourite looks using this shade this month, or these past 2 months rather, but yeah, it was one of my favourite looks I've created. Then next to that we have Petrol, which again I used once, and now I've used it twice overall since starting this project. Honestly not my favourite shade, and definitely not one that I think I'd be able to finish. So then we have Pug, which I only used once since the last update, and I've used it 7 times since the start of the project. Honestly, I'm a bit disappointed in myself that I don't think I'm going to be able to hit pan on this shade, because it is a shade that I really love, and I don't know why I didn't focus on it more, but at least it looks like it's at least been used. So then we have the shade Danger, which previously I'd only used once, and since the last update I've used it 5 times, so 6 times since the start of the project, and this shade definitely looks a bit more loved now, and I can even see a little bit of a dip forming in this one. So on to the last row, we have got Strawberry Sweet that previously I'd used once and now I have used twice, so I used it once since the last update, and yeah, the pan just definitely looks a little bit more used, but not a whole lot going on there so far. Then we have Festive Flame that before this update I hadn't used at all, and then since the last update I have now used it twice, so yeah, just looks a little bit more used I guess, but not a whole lot going on there. Like I've said, I'm not like a massive fan of the shimmers in this palette anymore. So then the next shade next to that is Coppercorn that I haven't used, and I've used it twice since the start of the project. Then on to the last 3 shades. So we have Mug Cake, which I've only used once since the last update, but 16 times since the start of the project. And I feel like the pan on that is actually quite a good pan, to be honest with you. And then the shade next to that is Rosewood, which previously I'd only used 3 times since the start of the project. I've used it 4 times since the last update, meaning I've used it 7 times since the start of the project. So definitely just looks like a nicely used shade with a fairly decent sized pan, I would say. Then we have the last shade, which is the Black, which was the shade I was most nervous about. Like, I definitely didn't think I'd be able to hit pan on this shade, and I haven't. I have used it twice since the start of the project, and I've used it a further 2 times, which means I've used it 4 times. And yeah, it just definitely looks a little bit more used for me. Like, I never really use black, so I'm surprised that it even looks disturbed, to be honest with you. So that was my update for the second to last update, I guess, for my Pan palette. I really wanted to make sure I've at least used every shade once. This update was what I was aiming for, and I've done that now. Every single shade in this palette has been used at least once, which is all I can really ask for, to be honest with you. Obviously, this is a big palette. It has, what, 24 shades in it? Yeah, it has 24 shades in it, so it was like a big palette to try and pan. But I think, obviously, we have our final update in December. I don't know when I'm going to do it. I don't know whether I'm going to do it at the start of December or at the end of December. But basically, I'm just going to try and empty as many shades as I can, if I can, because I don't honestly do my makeup a whole lot. So I'm going to try and empty as many as I can. I think I could empty 3 of them. I think I could empty the white, the nude shade, and then tiramisu. I think I could empty. They're the ones that I'm gonna put all of my effort into, I think. And then if I do manage to empty them, I'll move on to like other shades that could potentially be completely panned. But yeah, at least I have used every single shade in this palette now, and it just looks so much more used. Honestly, I was gonna declutter this at the end of this year, whether I'd used it up or not, because like I said, the shimmers just don't work for me anymore. But I'm not gonna lie, a small part of me wants to continue this next year and like start it again with it looking like this and just see how we could have it looking next year. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think. Do you think I should try and pan this, like try and completely empty it next year? Or do you think just let it have its day and declutter it? Because honestly, like the shimmers they just don't perform well at all. Like, it's really hard to get them to just work, to be honest. So they're the shades I'm most nervous about, but the mattes still work pretty well. There's only a couple of them where I'm like, meh, but most of them still work really well. So let me know what you think. What do you think I should do? But that was the update. Hopefully it wasn't too long, and hopefully I didn't like just rush over it. I tried to do like a happy in between. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this update. Like I said, let me know what you think I should do next year, and let me know if you're excited for the finale, because I really hope I can finish a few shades. I really hope I can. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, because it really, really does help me out. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my finale, and so that you don't miss when I post future videos every Monday and Saturday. And with all that being said, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.